different.
It doesn't, right? Hey, everybody, this is Wake Up Call Live. I know I've been gone for a few minutes, and I am so sorry about that, but we are back, and we have an esteemed panel today to talk about what it looks like. I guess my specific question is, what do we think about non-lawyers owning law firms? So naturally, I had to get a bunch of lawyers to talk about that. And I don't know, we'll see if their answers are predictable. So thank you guys for joining me. There's a bunch of you. There might be another person coming, but if you would please so indulge me, can you just, give a short introduction, like your name, where you practice, and what your practice area is? And Christine, let's start with you.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Christine Mattis. I'm the owner and founder of the Mattis Law Group. Our main objective, we love to protect assets for families, especially those with special needs children. Our offices are in Toms River, Red Bank, and in New York.
Awesome. Eric?
Thanks. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Weingold. I am the owner and founder of my law firm, which is Weingold Law PPM Lawyers. We are based in New York, but we serve clients nationwide. And our clients are essentially folks that are looking to raise capital for their business or their real estate fund or their private equity fund from investors. So we handle a private placement is what we refer to it as, and that's what we do.
Very cool. I might have to be your client one day, but we'll talk about that later. So last but not least, Danielle.
Hi, everybody. I'm Danielle Hudson Laughlin. I am also the owner and founder of my firm. We are Sage Business Counsel. We are located in Metro Atlanta. We do also service some clients nationwide, depending on what types of services they need. And our name says it all. We are business counsel, which means we provide outside general counsel to small and growing businesses. And we also do litigation in the great state of Georgia.
Awesome. Okay, good. So we've got some different perspectives, some different states here too. So if I was really on my game, I would have done a bunch of research before this, but I didn't. So we're just going to flesh it all out here. So I got this idea because it's been a subject of conversation at different times over the years. I know in New Jersey for sure that non-lawyers cannot own law firms. Is that also the case in Georgia and New York as well?
Yes.
Is this everywhere? Do you know of a jurisdiction where a non-lawyer can own a law firm?
Yes. Arizona. Mm-hmm. Utah has a testing, a sandbox, so to speak, I think going on right now.
Okay, so that is interesting. I'm curious if we know anybody in those states that maybe I can drum up some people that have direct experience with this. But I know you can't do it in Jersey. There's been buzz that it's coming down the pike. And I just have to say, I want to hear what you guys think about it. But my initial reaction is, well, why the hell not? Like, where are you guys on the fence? Do you think non-lawyers should not be able to own a law firm, or do you think they should be?
I think that, because of the growing trend of how many more people we want to help, right? When you don't have the breadth that some of these other companies have, basically it all comes down to money, right? And when especially I've been reading about litigation firms, I feel that the smaller firms are going to get outgunned when it comes down to money and how they can fund their litigation. So if you add that other element, Chris, about having another type of industry come and support monetarily, I think, in the big process, it can really help that client and really level the playing field, small versus big firms. There's always those big issues, but it always comes down to money. So I could see if I'm a smaller litigation firm, that might be something that really is enticing.
To have a non-lawyer be able to be an owner. Yeah. I agree with you there. What about you, Eric? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I hope that it spreads across the country and becomes the standard. I agree with Christine for that reason and other reasons as well, because owners of a law firm, operators of a law firm, don't have to be lawyers to do that work, to do that job, and to do that well. And sometimes the most talented people in that position or role is not a lawyer. And it would be wonderful to be able to have that person as a partner and be able to contribute and share in the law firm profits without having to, just pay them like a salaried employee.
Totally agree.
Partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's been an issue for us too. And what about you, Danielle?
I agree. I am a big proponent of non-lawyers owning firms. I have some ethical concerns. I mean, I think there are some concerns. I'm sure we'll get into those, but generally, yes. And I'll add also, in terms of being able to compete, right? Not just from a litigation standpoint, but just generally. What I do and what Eric does too is we're here, we do all sorts of things for our clients to help them get funding and to figure out creative strategies for them to be able to expand and grow. We have limitations on marketing and soliciting new business as lawyers. All of those rules are so archaic, and they're based on these notions that began so long ago, and they're no longer relevant in today's world, in my view. And one of the biggest, I think, debate points, if we will, or the other side of the coin that people will bring as the reason why not, is a fear of, well, what if a private company can control the law firm? And I'm like, newsflash, the old law firm that I worked at, where the banks were the clients, they pretty much controlled what we were doing already, and they didn't own anything in the law firm. So this idea that ownership gives you some kind of like magic control that big buck fees don't otherwise give you is just ludicrous in my view. It makes zero sense to me.
The thing I don't get too is, and this is sort of related to something else you mentioned, is like a lot of the marketing rules and advertising and things, especially in New Jersey, because New Jersey is a very, very strict state, I think, more so than maybe New York and Georgia. There's so little that we can actually do in terms of our advertising. And it's like the powers that be, whoever has made these decisions, they don't acknowledge that we're all running a business.
Yeah.
This is a business. We're here to make money. So I just want to pause for 1 second. We have Sandy Durst coming, and I just want to give him an opportunity to tell us who the heck he is. We're going to wait till he gets his camera. All right.
Sorry about this. Between tech problems and a daughter on the road who can't find her way out of a shoebox.
Hey, I'm still like that, and I'm 48, so kind. So, Sandy, just tell us real quick, because we started the conversation, and maybe Sandy will be one of the people on a different side of the fence. We'll see. But Sandy, just tell us, your name, your practice area, and where you're practicing.
Okay. So as we already know, I'm Sandy Durst. I have done nothing but divorce and family law in New Jersey for the last, I keep saying 20 years, but we're on the north side of that right now. Primarily in Mercer County and the Princeton area, and also down at the shore now in Monmouth and Ocean counties, having moved down here once I got remarried. So.
Okay, so he's in New Jersey, because we do have some out-of-staters. We have Danielle from Georgia, and Eric is in New York.
Hello, all.
Yeah, and Christine is in New Jersey. So thanks for joining us. We're glad you were able to get that tech problem fixed. Yeah. All of us are of like mind that we don't see why non-lawyers shouldn't be allowed to also own law firms. Is that your opinion?
It is. And there are certain... Look, I can take the other side. I do it every day. I mean, I'll make up arguments.
No.
There are certainly issues. Who owns it, how, what type of entity it is, but we are the most outdated, provincial, self-defeating profession ever.
I don't know about ever, but
we're close.
We're up there.
Yeah. And we hold ourselves out to be something a whole lot more special and sanctimonious than we are. And when I came on, I think I heard you, Christine, say we all run businesses. And frankly, that's forced upon us by default. I didn't go to business school. I went to law school, and I want to be a lawyer. So the fact that I can't bring in a partner or a co-owner who, God forbid, may know how to run a business, may know how to do
Yeah.
advertising and marketing, is nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt like, oh God, I wish we could just bring on somebody who, you know, they live and breathe business and all the things that come with that, and they would want to come on board and just run this place and make it profitable, you know, profitable where we would like it to be.
Right.
And we could have the lawyers and the legal team actually doing the legal work, but it's hard because the only way now that you can do that is to bring them on as an employee.
Yeah.
And, you know, you could have an employment contract and try to mimic things that they might get as an owner, but at the end of the day, they're never an owner.
And I bet, Danielle, you're thinking like me. I'm always thinking business succession planning.
Succession planning.
If my kids want to be involved and they're excellent in business, but they didn't want to go to law school, well, I can't have them involved in my law firm. Like, that just sounds so crazy. That's something that I created, right? I created and we just built this. It's beautiful. And then I die and it won't go to family. That's like what
Great point.
Does that?
Great point, Christine. The other factor also is just the idea that even for lawyers that may have more business acumen, for example, I understand business operations. That doesn't mean I'm good at business operations, right? Like, just because I know what should be getting done doesn't mean I'm the best person that should be doing it. So I am not sure like where we get this idea that knowledge equals action, but there's really no correlation between the two if you don't have the experience of actually operating the entity. And so my personal anecdote there is that I hired a colleague who's a great lawyer who knows the things that I know, and he's now doing the legal work, and I'm over here taking the brain knowledge that I have and putting my training wheels on, trying to get my operations and my systems in place. And I'm fumbling around when I could take dollars. I could still practice law. He could practice law. We could put those other dollars over here to an operator, and we could start growing our business model and helping more people. But alas, here we are, and we're going a lot slower than we desire.
Isn't the flip side of that is what I imagine all the critics of this will say, that while we want to rely on business people, everyone's concerned that we're going to get unduly influenced on the legal side by the number crunchers and bean counters. And somehow that will be a harm to the public and our clients. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I want to read something because I came across an article in Thomson Reuters about this, and it says in this article that Rule 5.4, the restrictions in Rule 5.4 were considered essential for keeping lawyers independent in their legal advice and preventing the possibility of non-lawyer owners who might prioritize profits over duties to clients.
So I am not independently wealthy. I don't do this as a charitable endeavor. I care about my clients. I meet all of my ethical obligations to them. I do this for the profits. I mean, this is my job.
I'm shocked, Sandy.
I know, I'm the evil lawyer. So if everyone's online with that, the non-lawyer owner isn't going to make any money unless I make money on the lawyer side, and I make money by doing a good job and a successful job for my clients. I mean, the interests are all aligned.
Yeah. We have to still practice law the right way. We still have liability, and we still have rules of professional responsibility, and there's still the law, which is the law. Doesn't, we still have to do this the right way. It's not like we can suddenly cut corners and still do the job just to make more money. I don't see how that even works. That's
sorry. The reality is we do that already. I don't need my non-attorney partner to tell me my client can't afford this expert, or I need to drop this case because the client's not paying their bill.
Yeah.
That decision is no different or no better or no worse if I make it because I have a JD after my name, or my partner makes it because they have MBA after their name. We make the very same decisions.
Yeah.
Well, let me be a devil's advocate for a minute, or just ask what might be a dumb question. But is somebody, the powers that be, whoever these people are, is there a little worry that we might become like the medical industry, where healthcare companies are the ones that really are dictating how doctors practice medicine? Is there a possibility for that to happen if we let non-lawyers own law firms?
The big difference in my view is we don't have an insurance company telling us what or how they will pay us for.
Not yet. Not yet. But are we paving the road for them?
I'd love to get legal insurance. You know what? I mean, pay me whatever you want, but let's learn from the medical field. Let's create, let's create a distinction. You can run the business, but you're not part of the legal decision making, the strategy on cases. That's not. They've bungled it. Let's learn from them and put steps in place so that we don't have, or we minimize that possibility that our actions or our responsibilities are getting curtailed by some.
Well, if there was a solution for that, why aren't I don't want this to become a conversation about the medical world, but and Danielle, you might have missed this because I know you dropped off for a second, but my question was, if non-lawyers can own law firms, are we basically paving the way for law firms to become what basically medical practices are now, where health insurance companies dictate the treatment that you get?
Well, in my view, we already have rules that get at this very thing, right? As a litigator, I have rules. Rule 11 tells me whether or not I can take certain actions or not, whether my client is willing to pay for it or not. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of clients that are willing to pay for things that I can't do for them. So, when it comes down to it, we've already created a safety net for that sort of thing with the ethical rules that we have. And the reality is that if we haven't been able to stop frivolous lawsuit filing as a self-governing group of professionals, then who could? So at the end of the day, the biggest issue I see by having this self-contained, self-governing body of lawyers is that we're too afraid to speak up when one of the lawyers that we know or we're working against acts unethically, or God forbid the judge acts unethically, right? But if I had somebody here that didn't have a law license to worry about, or a professional network where they may be, ostracized for being the whistleblower, and they were able to speak up and say, whoa, this judge, this lawyer is not following the rules, maybe we could actually create a better legal system, because we would have people outside of it being able to help control some of what's actually going on here, which I think is some of the issues that we saw with medical. But I agree with what Sandy said. We can learn from the problems that we have in the medical industry because we have the benefit of hindsight. So we could see the problems that have happened and we can create and build a better system. But if we ignore this as though it's just never going to happen, that's the wrong approach, because in our federal, our federal system where we have different states being able to act on their own, my neighbor state is doing whatever it wants to do. Arizona and Utah are doing this. So if Georgia wants to keep lawyers, if New Jersey wants to keep lawyers, and if New York wants to keep lawyers, probably they need to start recognizing that we can vote with our feet too. Any one of us here can go open law firms in Arizona and Utah right now and start practicing law as non-lawyers in those states.
Well, is some of this just being driven by the lawyers in the state that all they're thinking is that they're going to lose money because they're immediately going to have so much more competition potentially?
Well, but we still need these non-lawyer owners. Still need us. I mean, until a state says anyone who can speak right can be a lawyer, they still need me. So
yeah,
I don't understand the difference, and I've worked at big firms where I've had business managers who are, as you said, employees. I've run my own firm where I'm everything. I don't understand the difference of walking into a conference room and meeting Joe Smith attorney or Joe Smith office manager to apply for a job and have them farm it out. So I think we're worried about losing our autonomy. I think we're worried about losing our, I mean, I hate to say it, but our this antiquated notion of prestige, that we're somehow different than every other business. And in New Jersey, we already invite the public in. I mean, God forbid I have to go to our fee arbitration. We have the public members making decisions about my business practice. Did I bill correctly? Am I billing fairly? And God forbid I get an ethics complaint. We have citizen members. So it makes no sense to me that we're inviting people to come in and critique my business on the back end, but we're somehow afraid of them helping my business on the front end.
I mean, I think, what's nice is that clients want creativity. They want to see solutions that are not always, what we probably think. When we have other industries involved, other non-lawyers, they give great advice. They have great ideas of how to be more practical, because a lot of us are so used to like, well, A plus B is C, and this is what we do. And then you'll hear another point of view and you're like, especially because I love looking at other professions, how they help other people. I love seeing like, oh, that's a good element. Like for me, for a trust and estates lawyer, I'd love to team up with financial advisors, CPAs, because that's great for the client. You just have to go one place. You don't have to go, all right, now, Christine, I got to go find a CPA. Okay, now, Christine, I got to go find someone to do my financial advice. Now I got to find someone to do my insurances. Wouldn't it be so nice to say it's all here? You don't have to go anywhere. Because I know your whole story. You don't have to keep telling your story to these 5 different people. So I think it's just on the upside. But you're right. I get what you're saying, Chris. Will it get to a point where will that non-lawyer industry dictate? But I don't think so, right? Because we're all trying to help the client. And what's unique with us is that we've never had insurance. Like a lot of people, they're tied to the insurance company. That's probably 99% of how they're going to get paid. Mm-hmm. We're opposite. We've never had that. You got to get the cash. You don't have the cash. It's very challenging. So maybe we could be more creative how to help you.
Well, we all have to form a pact that if this effort does come to pass, and I hope it does, it looks like it probably will, but we have to make a pact that we're never going to let anybody propose any kind of insurance plan. Like that's just we're not going there.
Well, I don't think the concern about the amorphous concern about non-lawyers influencing how a law firm does its practice in a way that would negatively impact the client. I think that amorphous concern is not ridiculous, it's not ludicrous, right? But it's also not something that can't be resolved, can't be remedied, can't be, taken care of, worked out, figured out, and still have, all the things that any other kind of company can have, including like you said, Christina, about, for a business law firm, at least, other types of business people who can help clients, business plan writers, investment advisors, consultants, being partners in a law firm to provide a holistic solution is an amazing concept. But even further than that, I mean, I could just having investors. Imagine having investors. Imagine being able to invest as an investor in law firms just to make money. That's not going to influence how law firms necessarily, or it doesn't have to influence how law firms operate. But it's kind of a cool thing, and it can and law firms that get investors can help more clients.
Right. I think it's an exciting time. I mean, I can't wait to see what kinds of incredible businesses form as a result of this. I, like we've been saying, I'm a business person because I have a business, but I'm not some visionary. I can't wait to see. I feel like it would just open up commerce in such a positive way. It's exciting to think about the way that business people and really creative entrepreneurs would disrupt the legal industry, like regardless of what your practice area is. I think it's exciting.
It is exciting, and we are seeing it a lot with the sandboxes in Utah. The ABA has the tech show every year, and I've gone for the last couple of years, and this year, there were these new tech startups that are coming out of these sandboxes out in Utah and this non-lawyer ownership model in Arizona. And with Chat GPT and AI and all of those other things, Case Text has a new product called Co-Counsel. Has anybody demoed that? I've demoed it. Oh my gosh, you have to demo this, okay? It's good for transactional practices. It's also good for litigation practices. But it's an AI tool specifically for law. It is self-contained. It's not like Chat GPT where it's, all out there and all that data and IP is going everywhere. It's a self-contained system. They just got bought by Thomson Reuters, I think, for $640 million, if I remember. I may be putting a zero on that, but anyway, it was a lot. And so Thomson Reuters just bought them. Or went into contract, maybe is where they are. They may not have closed that yet. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we're already seeing disruption in legal. And for some of the folks that are burying their heads in the sand, saying that that we don't want non-lawyer owners and we want to stop chat GPT. Can't really say that. Say that 3 times fast. It's like, but the big hairy gorilla is chasing us down the street, man. Like, we can't hide from this. It's literally already happening. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like some of these conversations have just stayed and it's really with the naysayers, which honestly, none of us probably ever have been, right? And maybe the reason we own our firms and maybe the reason that we're entrepreneurial is because we are kind of against the grain of some of the more traditional minded lawyers. I have respect for the ethical concerns. I think we all do. We all said the same oath.
Yeah.
I'm not here to make money over the interests of my clients. I'm here to make money by doing the interests of my clients. And I think it was you, Sandy, who said that the interests are aligned. They should be. So, and I always struggle with what are the other arguments against it, because my brain just doesn't go there. It just
only part of it is, but this is how we've always done it.
Oh, I know. Well, if this is how we'd always done it, 3 of you would not be members of the bar and all.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I mean,
valid point.
I see 2 white guys, and we would be your attorneys.
That's right.
Good point, Sandy.
as
Great point.
I tried to figure out how to play the other side in this last night. The one concern, and we mentioned investing in law firms. It's not a problem, if my friend comes to me and says, I want to invest in your law firm. It's me, make me an owner. I do see, if we start having like institutional investors, I do see a conflicts nightmare that I'm going to go file a divorce complaint only to find out that the parties own, one share of JP Morgan Legal Mutual Fund, which means they now owe me. So I've just sued my client.
Right.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
But again, that's not an insurmountable obstacle. There are ways to address that. But to me, that's the biggest potential problem for us that we are bringing in partners that are eliminating a huge number of our potential clients, because they're now my boss. Or now my client is theoretically my partner. You're not only my client, but you're a fractional owner, downstream.
Not all law firms are litigation firms, so conflicts issues don't even apply to all firms.
Right.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Well, I think I'm just echoing what you're all basically saying, is that as business owners, somebody had once said business owners are basically just problem solvers. And I think at the time I didn't agree with that, but I totally agree with that. Like, we're problem solving every day, all day, not even in a legal aspect, just as a business owner, you're solving problems constantly. And I think, perhaps the people that all they can see are the problems that could arise, there's always going to be solutions. And there's probably plenty of problems that none of us have even thought about, but you roll with it and you figure out ways as they come up. It's like playing whack-a-mole, you just figure out, how do we resolve this one?
Right.
And that's
Which
really
is
how
what
we evolve.
And that's what court systems do anyway, right? We change rules all the time, and then we have to iterate on those rules to get it right and to figure out which circumstance, does this rule apply to, and is this an exception, and why? And so, like, that's literally like half or more of what our industry does is create new rules and then figure out how to apply them.
Well, you know what I'm wondering too? I hate to say this, but don't tell anybody. Is it the old people? It's the old people. They don't want to change.
Yeah, well, it's again, like Sandy said, that antiquated, feeling and the entitlement and whatever it is that's all wrapped up about it, of how people think a law firm should be, and this is it. And now, but we're advancing. We have to advance, and every other industry is way ahead of us.
But advance means change.
Yeah, change. Right. Remember when COVID happened, and then everyone's saying, "Oh, well, I guess if we can't meet clients, we may have to do things on video." And I can't say how many people are like, "No," and I'm like, "Yeah." That's.
We know how many people are still trying to go back to that. Like, we're done. Whatever happened pre-COVID, we're done with that. We're never going back to that. But there are still people who are like, oh, well, COVID's over. Like, we're just going to go back to what we were doing. And there are some judges, they're all old. But they're the ones that are trying to go back.
And we make 99% of the rules we have allowed to be imposed upon us to govern our profession are made to address the handful of really bad attorneys who don't know what they're doing, aren't ethical in any aspect of their life, let alone their practice, and premised upon this notion that the public, our clients, are these naive rubes who, if we don't do all we can to ensure the virtue of lawyers, we will just run roughshod over them and exploit them. I don't know. You can look at my AR list and figure out who's being exploited by the public. We have let ourselves we have let ourselves be governed by the worst of us, and in response to the worst of us, and we feed into the fears and the narratives that the whole hate lawyer crowd keeps pushing out there.
So true. That's a great point. And that's also, it also, there's the two components too that are a little bit more social justice oriented, I guess. But first of all, it's no secret that our industry is at the top of the list in terms of mental health issues, suicide, substance abuse, etc.
Right.
Part of which comes with exactly what you're talking about, Sandy, which is this idea that you can't even trust yourself because you're a lawyer. And what if you do the wrong thing? And then the boogeyman, AKA the Bar Association, comes out and rips your license from you and you can never make money again. And we live in fear that we're going to somehow be put out of business because of these rules that are never most likely going to apply to us because we're not the type of people that would do those sorts of things in the first instance. And then the other issue is the access to justice, which is businesses. Look, I could hang this shingle up and say, hey guys, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to go work for the big boys and I can go help Coca-Cola make more money and put more, small competitors out of business. And I can go help Apple do the same thing. But what about my little beauty shop owner? What about my landscaper? What about the local community, small business owners that need the services and the knowledge that I have that I can't reach because I have to keep rates so high so I can pay my bills so I don't go bankrupt and I can still continue to provide services. Meanwhile, Coca-Cola has a public fund. They just sell more shares. They create more shares and then they sell them and they create more and they sell them. And that's how they continue to keep growing and growing and growing. Nobody's thirsty for Coca-Cola, right? But a lot of people are thirsty for legal help, particularly, obviously, even more so with things like family, child issues, trust, especially special needs issues. Come on. I mean, this is a real problem. And we keep talking about the impact to lawyers, but what about the benefit to the public?
For sure. 100%.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be what they're trying to protect, right?
Right.
What were you going to say, Christine?
I said that, a lot of this is really for the help of the clients, the families we serve. It to me, it's just such a plus for them. There's just so much more than we can offer them, so much more creativity we can offer them, so many more avenues, because it is hard. If you're a smaller firm, there's only so many solutions you can think about when someone has a tough problem. And if it comes down to money, that's the worst kind. It's the worst.
Yeah. Well, let me pose this question to you all, since we're all on the same side of the fence. What kinds of things would you implement right away if this changes, if we can have non-lawyers owning law firms? Is there anything?
I mean, I love some of the ideas that are presented already here. Succession planning. That's a fantastic concept. I mean, if I run a successful law firm and I do it right so that it actually operates and does everything that it can do, even without me, and just sort of is autonomous and making money and also serving clients, and that can be done for all the folks out there who are lawyers who don't know that. That can be done. You can do that. And I want to leave it to my niece or nephew. Why do they have to become lawyers just to have a business that can generate money for them? If they could own a part of this business or all of it and still have it running with lawyers doing the law the right way, how beautiful is that? I love that.
Or I can sell it to one of these investors. If I don't, my kids may have no interest in it, but now my choice is to come to the one of you four and say, I want to retire. I want to quit. Here's my business. Do you want to absorb it? Maybe. And then what are you going to give me for that? And now I'm depending on your business thriving to pay me out. Whereas if I call up, Law Firm Holding Inc., run my books, see what it is, write me a check, and I'm done. My clients now have a continuing firm. I have my money. I'm done.
Well, what is there anything that you would do, Sandy, like, immediately, or are there ideas you would entertain for your own business?
I know what I would do if you don't, Sandy.
I would certainly seek out investors who not only have money, but skills and expertise I need. If you want to be a complete silent partner, that's fine. Give me your money. I'll use it as, expenses. But if you know marketing, if you know HR, if you know how to run the business, then come work with me. I mean, and let's all flourish together. I would put, I don't know what the policies would be, but I would make it clear that the legal strategies, the legal decisions, the representation is controlled by me or whatever other lawyers I want to involve. I will solicit your opinion. I know what, whatever they are, but I'm doing what I need to do. And you need to trust me that I'm doing that for our shared benefit. So that would be
because they're owners now, they get a say so in what you do, right? I mean, that's the other issue too, is that now there's somebody to check us at the door and say, I'm going to challenge that idea. I don't think that makes good business sense. And since my money's mixed in with yours, we got to have the conversation.
Mhm.
I would personally, as a business attorney, I would be looking to find high level CPAs to come in and work for me and with me as partners. The big four accounting firms are moving into legal, and they're trying to get into legal. And I would be doing that sort of thing, merging financial and legal, because that's a big problem for businesses in particular. And even it sounds like, from a family planning perspective as well, where I can refer you to CPAs, but I can't openly share conversations about strategies and things like that. We've got to jump through hoops to make sure that we're preserving all these rules around confidentiality and things like that. So that would be my first step, would be to sort of add that kind of horizontal integration into our firm, so that when our clients come to us and they're saying, I'm a business owner, I need help, and they're saying, I want to do this type of entity and I want to do that type of entity, and I say, from a liability standpoint, I can tell you blah 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 blah, but you need to talk to your CPA about the impact on your personal financial situation, because I don't know anything about your taxes, and I really can't tell you anything about that other than the rules, but I can't give you a strategy around it. I don't know your personal tax situation. We might think an S corporation makes sense for you, or maybe a corporation, but your CPA might say, "Oh, no way, we're going to lose so much money doing that." As it stands right now, I have to be very careful. I have to caveat a lot of things and say, but there are certain things that you want your CPA to look at, and I'm happy to talk with them, and we can meet up. And they're like, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to coordinate us? You're trying to wrangle a lawyer and wrangle an accountant to get them to, yeah, right. Like, that's not real. So it's just the whole thing for me is just bringing the clients more peace of mind and giving them more holistic services without all the rigmarole around it. So that's what I would be doing if I could, or when I can.
What about you, Christine?
I definitely would try to get all my ducks in a row. If I'm looking for investors, I'm looking for another partner, they're going to want to look at my books. So I think this is a good thing for all firms now to take seriously, look at their bottom line, get themselves healthy, because no one's going to invest in a firm that's not making money. Nobody's going to invest in a firm that's making negative profits. So this will actually force a lot of firms to become healthy, to really look at what they have and say, listen, I want to be attractive to this investor. I want to be attractive to this partner, because no one's just going to join up with you like, oh, I need a CPA. You're a great firm. Not going to. They're going to be like, yeah, let's talk about your numbers. So I think this will be a real eye opener and a real wake up call for using your name, wake up call to a lot of owned firms to say, wow, this is happening. I really got to get ship shape. I really got to get myself in order. And that's probably one of the first things I'm going to be doing, is really making sure everything looks right and everything looks healthy before we venture forward and really, try to see who we can partner up with.
Well, I think what I've wanted to do in the past was find somebody who knows how to run a business far better than I do, or really build a business, because we have a vision for NetSquire, and find someone with more of a business background and an entrepreneur background to help me do that. But the way to make that more enticing to people is to be able to offer them some ownership interest, and right now we just can't do that. So that would open up doors for me in that way.
We also can't pay sales commissions.
Yes. I think, is that rule separate though? I don't know if allowing a non-lawyer to own a law firm, does that change the
We're not
rule?
allowed to, in New Jersey at least, we're not allowed to share fees with non-lawyers. So,
but I wonder what they would do with that rule. Like, obviously you could share the fees with the person who's an owner, but what about someone who's outside of the firm who's not an owner? Could you pay them a referral fee?
I think
that rule would have to be overruled as well.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I mean, how could you have both? I don't see how you could realistically have both of those existing.
And that's another one of these lovely little fallacies we've created. Where do you think I pay my employees from? My employees, not my partner.
Right.
I'm paying legal fees. It's the only in to the bank account.
The only in.
It's totally ridiculous.
It makes sense.
And again, I started out this whole conversation with this it's like they don't know that we're running a business. Like, we're all running a business. We're all here to make money. Yeah, we want to help people too, but we're all here to make money.
And then the bad lawyer that steals the money from the client trust account is getting admonished at the bar for being a thief. But the reality is that nobody taught that lawyer how to run a business. Nobody taught that lawyer what a P&L is. Nobody taught that lawyer. And I'm not saying taking money from the trust is a good thing. I'm just saying we're so focused on punishing, going back to Sandy's point, we're so focused on the punishment aspect of what we do and keeping lawyers in line, but we're not actually teaching lawyers any of this. I almost got my MBA. My alma mater had a joint program, and it was going to give me one more year of school. And I hate to say, I was so short-sighted then because I was already a mom. And so I was running as fast as I could to start making money again. And I was like, I just can't do another year of school to get this MBA. But now I'm just like, I'm getting my MBA, now for 12 years. And it's really been dragging on for quite a long time, right? It's like nobody told me any of this stuff.
Even if I have that knowledge, I only have 24 hours in a day. I need to devote some of that time to servicing my clients. I need to devote some of that time to running my business. I have a family. There are other things I like to do, and sometimes I like to do nothing. So well-intentioned, smart, informed, ethical people are going to have things fall through the cracks because you're making the current rules make us do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going in to handle a trust and estate matter. I'm not doing, the sales agreement for my buddy's company, but I'm going to do my HR at a high executive level. I'm going to do my financial bookkeeping and accounting at a high. I don't want to, I can't, and I don't have the time to do it all well. So everyone, the clients will be better served by allowing me to bring in the professionals in these necessary areas and be able to compensate them accordingly to what they're bringing.
Totally agree. Well, I don't know if any attorneys out there that disagree with us. Do you? If you do, send them my way, because I would be interested to hear what well, first of all, what their title is. So I can figure out why is this so. But I don't know. It seems like if we're all as a profession in agreement, I can't understand, why we haven't moved forward. But I will be watching this issue. If you guys see anything in the news, please forward it on to me, because I do want to stay on top of this.
Okay.
And
Can I offer a challenging idea, just a little conspiracy theory, but just something that I've thought about? The only people that benefit from these rules right now are big law.
All right.
And those are the dollars that are getting pumped to the bar associations, the alumni associations, etc. And so they're also the ones that already have access to the big deal clients and the big deep pockets. So maybe it's not so much people like us. Maybe it's people like them.
Great point.
I mean, it makes sense for all the money. Those are the $100 million and $1 billion businesses out there that exert the most influence in their law firm.
Mm-hmm.
well, let's investigate this a little further. I am segueing into a journalism career, so this
Yes.
could be an investigative piece. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I found it enlightening, and maybe we can do a round 2 if and when the rule changes. I can't wait to see what your practices look like. I'm going to say when the rule changes.
That's right.
Happy to do that. And thanks for putting this together, Christine.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Chris.
Fun.
Nice seeing everybody.
Good seeing you all.
All right. Thank you for listening to Wake Up Call Live, or watching it if you're on the Facebook feed, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.